Today I'm going to work again in my 2017 Composite Art Journal. The page that I'm going to work on today is a page from a prompt in the Joggles Art Journal Adventures. There's a link to Joggles Art Journal Adventures in the description box below, and a link to Joggles YouTube channel in the description box below. The prompt that I'm going to work on is prompt 6, and the prompt is subtle. That means no bright colors. Well, that's my style. That's what I like. So this should be a fun prompt for me to do. I went searching through my little whatnot box. This is actually a tea box that I collaged and used washi tape around, and I keep all my little whatnots, little things left from prior projects that I don't want to throw away yet. I came up with a pile of things to use on my page. I have a treasure trove. These were from a swap of Crazy Island Family, and they're little swatches of paper, scrap paper, and we made them matchbook style. Another piece of that calendar paper, piece of painted coppery index card. And for the focal point, I am going to use this photograph of my little grandniece. Her mother took her to a glitter photo shoot, and here she's blowing glitter, and she's got a little crown on her, and here she's holding her hands up to her head. Just so sweet. I received permission from her mother to use this photograph and to use it in this video. I'm very excited about using this. I really do like this picture. I just have to have a picture of her in my art journal. Thank you. Her name is Ashton. Thank you, Ashton. Thank you for being so sweet and for letting me use your photograph. So that is where I'm going with this. I'm going to be collaging everything down first, and I'll probably come back and talk about it someplace in the midpoint, and then again after it's all finished. I start out by choosing various papers from my stash. Now you see I'm working in fast forward motion. I set the film up to move real fast because, well, to be honest with you, you'd get really bored watching me choose all those papers and then collage them down on the page. It takes some time to decide where to put them all and how they look. And collage is simply gluing various papers down on a surface. You'll see that I'm using some really bright butterfly strips from a napkin, but I tone them down by putting another tissue paper on top of them. Subtle is the term for this prompt, and that means no real bright colors on the page, muted colors. I really like this painted paper towel. This is just a scrap towel that I used to wipe up paint or wipe it off of my brush on another project, and I saved it because I like the colors on it, and it works perfectly on this page. I also have some tissue papers that have been stamped and printed that I got from a swap. Where I'm working now, you see over there to the left, you see a peacock that I stamped off on a page of dictionary page. Now I'm adding some paint, but I don't like how bright it is, so I tone it down with a raw umber and I get exactly the effect that I want. My background is very wet right now. I'm going to have to wait for it to dry before I do any more to it. But I'd muted this entire background after I collaged the various pieces down. I like this little bird, the word sea, the word love. There's a little flower around here. There was a butterfly napkin on each side, but I collaged over those to push them back into the background to mute them out. So I'm going to let this dry. My page is dry enough to continue working on it. It is still a bit damp but that's okay. I can still work on it. Now, what I'm going to do next, this is the photograph that's going to be my main focal point. So what I'm going to do is, Ashton, if you're watching this, Ashton's mommy and daddy, if you're watching this, don't panic. I'll tell you before I do this that what I'm going to do is commonly done in mixed media art. Hold your breath. I am going to tear this, but I'm going to tear it very gently because I want portions of this photograph on different parts of the page. And as you can see, I'm tearing this with an edge showing right in here. And that's done a lot in scrapbooking. That is very much a scrapbooking technique. And it's very much a mixed media art technique. I deconstruct the photograph. I'm making a silk flower out of that scrap piece of silk, just stapling it at the bottom. You can do that with mixed media. Just staple it there at the bottom, form a little flower, attach some lace to the bottom. Here I'm gluing down the scrap pieces of that photograph to the edges of the page. I really like how it just ties the page together. Toning down the white spots on the torn edges of the journal spot, and I'll do the same thing on the photograph. Here I am toning down the back of a Tim Holtz Found Relatives photo, and then I'll take a piece of sandpaper and distress it. I'm toning down the ballerina. She still has some blue showing through. I really do like that. She really fits on this page. Working out the placement of the elements. I have a set of rusty keys, and I remove the metal so that they'll lay flat, and I'll attach them together with this piece of seam binding ribbon that's been dyed a muted red. I really do like that. Over on the right hand side, I use Aleene's Tacky Glue to glue down a strip of linen, and then I attach that strip of eyelets. Working out the placement, here I'm staining the dragonfly a red, a muted red, so that it'll blend in more with the background of the page. Really liking everything. I'm making a little tag pocket that will hold a tag. Glue that little piece of music down. It coordinates with the red of the keys on the ribbon of the keys. Attach the photo and a little piece of scrap lace at the top. Here I'm gluing down the ballerina, and there's her shoe. I attach her shoe. She's got shoes now. Attach down some broken jewelry. I am using E6000 to glue the dragonfly and the keys down and the fabric flower. You'll see I put a little flower charm in the middle of my fabric flower. I'm gluing down the Believe journal spot and lace at the bottom. Checking the pocket. Yeah, that's what I want. Glue down some lace at the top and at the sides to pull the page together. Here I use a ticket and a little piece of black ribbon to make a little journal spot. Really do like that. And then I edge it with black paint. Really happy with how this page turned out. My page is all finished. I am really happy with it. Subtle colors. Ochres and tans. Creams. A little bit of red, but it is muted red, and a muted red here. I stained this dragonfly with a little coppery red just to make him coordinate with the entire page. I have some snap eyes here, and they were on a tape, but I just put the tape down there across the border. I could put some ribbon in there, and I might yet put some of this type of ribbon. I think that would be a good idea. I just thought of that as I was talking about this page. I deconstructed the photograph, put the word believe up here, left the photograph itself alone because, well, you don't want to touch that. I had a ballerina out of scrapbook paper. I believe it was a Graphic 45 ballerina from the December daily that I did in 2014. And I still had that ballerina in my stash, and I thought, oh, it will go perfect here. So it was more of a lighter blue-white, and I stained it and muted the colors more to fit with the entire background, but she still is there. I outlined her with a black Stabilo pencil. This XOXO is a little journal card, little journal tag card from Tim Holtz. I might go around that with the Stabilo pencil too. I'm still deciding. Here's some broken jewelry pieces that I had in my stash. You can see the entire background was collaged, just pieces I had laying around. And it's really interesting to watch how these pieces from different places, from who knows where, when you put them together, how they come together to tell a story. This was a scrap of lace that I had, I believe, when I made my Tattered Angel holiday page. It was just a little scrap, and I saved it, and it goes perfect up here. Peacock stamp. I stamped this on dictionary paper a year or so ago. I have some stamped images that I received in a swap. If you look back in here, you'll see I had a needlework book that I was scraping scrap paint off on, and I tore a page out of that, and you can see it just right up in here. It just forms sort of a netting background. 2 rusty keys. This ribbon I got in a swap. It was tying together some sort of embellishment. They wrapped them up and tied them in a ribbon, and I took the ribbon off to get to the embellishment. Little dragonfly. This is a fabric flower with the little flower bouquet in there. Scraps of lace. And then I put a black border around everything to tie the entire page together. This tag comes out, but I'm not going to take it out. But what I have in here is a little photograph that was of her mother and father and her. And then when you pull this tag out, you get the documentation on the tag in here. So I am just really happy with how this page turned out. It will make a really nice page in my 2017 Composite Art Journal. I will see you on the next page.